we were interested in looking at immunization rates in elementary schools and seeing if exemption status and compliance could be correlated with socioeconomic status or ethnicity.
We found that schools that have high exemption rates are the schools with higher proportions of white families, which tells us that these families are the ones that are choosing not to vaccinate their kids, and they're exempting their kids because of religious or personal reasons.
I think there's a lot of reasons that parents are what we call vaccine hesitant. And the reasons are different and they seem to change. It used to be that parents were very concerned that vaccines would cause autism. I think we've shown conclusively that that is not the case. The concern now seems to be becoming more that there's too many vaccines at once or too many too soon, or that we're giving vaccines that maybe aren't necessarily needed. So a lot of parents, for example, might have concerns about their child receiving the polio vaccine because we haven't seen polio in the United States in several years. But the truth of the matter is, it just takes one person to get on a plane from a country where polio is endemic to come to the United States and infect someone that has not been immunized, and now we can have polio in the United States once again. If Ebola, I think, taught us anything, it was that we're really just a plane ride away from some of these diseases, and so we have to make sure that we continue to be protected until it's fully eradicated. They've been their own worst enemy in that they've been so successful we don't see these diseases now, and so people forget how horrible they were.
We also find that schools with low compliance rates, families not turning in their paperwork, are the schools that have a higher proportion of free and reduced lunches, which kind of indicates that these are lower socioeconomic status students. And so these students may just be because parents are not informed that they need to turn these forms in, and not because they're exempting their kids out of, or not wanting their kids to have vaccinations. It's really hard to tell what the true vaccination rates are among these schools. So that, if a school has a 90% vaccination rate, it may truly be 95% if they have a low compliance rate. Well, it may be the same too. It's hard to tell.
On a personal level, my son, when he was an infant, did contract a vaccine-preventable disease. And as a parent, it was very difficult to watch your son suffer from a disease that you knew he didn't have to be exposed to if other people had immunized their children. It's very frustrating. He also now has a friend that is a recovering cancer patient that, now that their 6-year-old, is just now being able to receive his immunizations. And so I know the heartache that his parents have gone through making sure that their son is in a safe school where there is good, what we call herd immunity, where about 95% of the student population is immunized against a disease.
So my interest in this, and I'm an educational researcher, and so that's really where my interest comes into this, is looking at school-age kids, and why are we not protecting them from potentially dangerous diseases that are out there, like measles, which we've seen many incidences over the past couple of years, Disneyland being an example of that.
I think as an immunologist, when you know how the immune system works and you know how the immune system works, but how vaccines work and how the vaccines work with your immune system to provide protection, we know without a doubt that immunizations are the best way to protect our community and our youngest from certain contagious diseases that used to be really a scourge on our population.
I think there's a couple different things that impacts our students. A big piece is that service piece, service to the community, and educating our population that vaccinations are important, and that these myths that have been out there are not accurate.
I think for a pharmacy student, a lot of the times community pharmacists are really the front line for patients. And so a lot of times people will feel sick and the first place they'll go to is their pharmacist, and they'll be asking the pharmacist, this is how I feel, what do you suggest? And so it's really imperative that pharmacy students understand immunizations and the types of diseases that they can protect us against and why they're important.